Folks, welcome back to the show where sometimes you got to play the back nine because money gets involved. We're talking, of course, about Trainwreck Rules, Vanderpump Rules, another new episode. Let's get our man in here, Aaron Quinn. Quinster, what'd you think of tonight's episode? Saw it on the gram.
We got some more classic Vanderpump, right? Like, you got some alcohol involved. We haven't had much of that this year.
The crew was raging out in Tahoe, for sure.
Yeah, and although this season's a little weird because it is very segmented, right? They were like, we haven't seen much of Katie, not a lot of Ariana, so you're getting small pockets of the group. But you had a little bit of mix going on here that gave that classic Vanderpump drama here towards the end. We got a little bit of an extended episode this time.
Yeah, an extra like 10-15 minutes overrun. So we start off, obviously, how annoyed were you that the episode started with Sandoval writing in his journal?
Dude, he's such a tryhard. That and then the taking shots of oxygen on the boat is just so classic. It's such a Sandoval move, man. He's almost a predictable guy at this point. Like, I could have told you he's definitely journaling. He's definitely doing guided meditations. He's just, whatever trend is happening on Instagram, Sandoval's in.
Folks, thank you all for tuning in on X and Facebook. You got any comments, throw them in the chat. We'll talk about it here on Trainer Swords Rules. But yes, we're getting into it. So obviously this was kind of a, I hate to say it, Sheena-heavy episode. Even though there was a lot of Sandoval, there was a lot of other characters. I know that you didn't like that, did you? So this is a crazy heavy Sheena episode.
Dude, I was going to try to keep a Sheena cry count because it had to be up to like 8 or 9 moments of Sheena crying. Dude, she's a mess. Dude, like, everything's triggering her, everything. Even at the very end of this episode, she really put it out there for like the 9th time this season already, is like, when is it going to be about me? And it seems like that is where it all comes from, is like, she just wants the attention of this affair, of this stuff, to be about her suffering involved in it. And I'm sure that that's hard on her, but man, dude, she wants people to pay attention to her in a bad way, and it shows.
Seriously, and the only reason you should cry, folks, is tears of happiness from ordering Picasso's Pizza at any location around Western New York or any location nationwide via Goldbelly. Brock was absolute goals in this episode. Quinster wakes up, a little early wake up for me, 5:50, I will say, but goes out, plays around a golf, comes back, doesn't have to like wait around for meditation to start, literally starts right when he gets there. The
glove's still on. He still had his glove on.
Yeah, still had his glove on. Amazing. Yeah, you think he was toasted? And then what did he came from like South Lake Tahoe, the yoga instructor's like, oh my God, that's so far away.
Yeah.
But yeah,
honestly though, that's the best time to have a tea time. Like, Brock shot up in my book of, if you get up at 5 a.m. to go play golf, you're my kind of guy.
Yeah, I will say it's beautiful, like coming in at 9 or 10 from your round and still having the full day ahead for certain. So we're getting the yoga back-to-backs. An incredible Sheena Scandival edit. That's really one of the first ones we've seen this season where the editors win in their bag. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, they brought it up. They needed to. I think there's a lot of people that are jumping into the Vanderpump train now. They've seen the drama and it's been so public and all that stuff. So you got to get those people caught up a little bit on what's going on. But classic Vanderpump producers editing that clip out. You knew that this was going to hit its head on this episode with those two coming together. You've seen it building up here over the last couple of weeks of Sheena being torn between Ariana and Tom and them just being one-on-one. You knew this was going to pop.
Yeah, you knew this was going to boil over. Yeah, I mean, Sheena, when she was trying not to cry in the face-to-face, my goodness, you could just literally see it. It was almost worse than crying.
Yeah.
Is what everybody said. I say that with respect. I love Sheena. I love Good as Gold. I thought the Uber one is Good as Gold. It was an amazing remix. I give credit where it's due. I wrote down from this, the final note of this meditation, should Lala and Shorts just have their own show? I feel like that could potentially do numbers.
That is an interesting concept. I never thought about that. It is like an odd couple mix. I think it could work.
Okay. I'm with it. Just going. And then I hate to say this. Do you feel like I said this to my girlfriend when we were watching. Yep. I feel like Katie and Ariana are purposely getting like lame storylines. They're purposely getting like kind of like lame duck storylines, lame duck edits. I'm just not entertained when they're on the screen. I mean, the interviews were boring as hell.
Yeah, no, they don't. Well, and another thing on the interviews, dude, those two, like, think about how hard everyone was on Tom and Tom for getting their restaurant up and running and open. And these two are trying to just open a sandwich shop, dude. Like, I've worked in restaurants, I've worked in sandwich shops. Like, it shouldn't be this hard. And they are just, it's been like, what, a year and a half of them trying to get a sandwich shop up and running. They're having like formal interviews where they need a consultant to sit down. Like, you have no business opening a restaurant if you're doing this. But the biggest thing, man, Ariana, she looked real bad to me in this episode real early with she's like, I'm not giving ultimatums, but literally by the description of an ultimatum, that is what she's doing. Like, if you talk to Tom, you're done with me. I'm cutting you out of my life. I mean, what is more of an ultimatum than that, dude? It is a bad look, I think, from her at this point. And Lala speaks to it later in the episode.
And then obviously we get past midday. I wouldn't even say the alcohol starts coming to play because you had so many people on that boat not drinking. Scandival, Lala, James. But, it felt like after meditation, they kind of then had to get some drama out. The drama started to amp up a little bit. Obviously, that was brought on by Sheena. Brock got into it. The story to page 6 about Brock hooking up with Rachel definitely leaked by Sandoval's team, right?
1,000%, right?
Okay, I mean, that's obvious. I love I'll even take a lie detector test.
Anytime someone says that,
laws don't even use that, dude.
No, dude. And anytime somebody says that, they're 100% lying to you.
I'll take a lie detector test is like the ultimate thing to say in the 1990s.
Correct.
Like since then, like it's basically completely worthless.
Yeah.
I wrote that the boat experience looked awesome. I wrote Penny was doing some work for them, obviously. I wrote that Ariana was kind of losing control on this situation. The reason I wrote it is just because for the last months, or at this point in the timeline, a couple of months, I mean, she's had 1,000% support from everyone. And I think in this episode especially, you're starting to see some of the cracks in the Friend Foundation and beyond.
Yeah, no, she's had 100% support from the world. She's doing better than anyone on the show. Like, she's booking gigs, she's getting tons of publicity out of this, and she's really lording this now over the other people in the group, and I think that sucks. Again, back to the ultimatums, the call with Sheena. Like, Sheena has her issues and she's trying to make it about herself, but like rolling her eyes at her friend. I do believe Sheena's truly torn. Sheena talked about Tom being the one that sent her money during COVID. Like, nobody else said she was broke.
Was that cringe?
It was a little cringe, but I do think out of all the fake reality that's involved in the show, I do think that they are legitimate. They're old school. These are OGs from the show. They've been here the whole time. There's real friendship here. So I'm sure that there is some, yeah, dude, you screwed up and you messed this thing up. And she's been trying to have Ariana's back. And Ariana does need to have a little bit of grace in this and not be so like it's either him or me, and you can't even talk to this guy or show him any type of sympathy at all. That's too much, man. She's going too far with it.
I agree. And then again, her saying like she was almost like demanding how Sheena was acting. And so it kind of doesn't fault me, or doesn't surprise me, I guess, that Sheena was having some cracks in the foundation.
Yeah. And then Katie too, being like, oh, if you choose her, you're out of the Aria. Like, it's just like that little side mean girl stuff.
Well, Katie's the number 2. She has to say whatever Ariana's saying in a more clear, concise way to demand it of her. So I actually don't even hate that.
And she's got to keep her place at number 2 for sure.
Of course, the numero dos. And I wrote here. Now, I kind of noticed this when Sheena was going about it after yoga and stuff. And then again on the boat, Lala kind of is like, she could have easily talked Sheena into back being like 100% Team Ariana, but she didn't. She kind of let Sheena go off and do her own thing. Do you think that was Lala staying out of the way, or almost kind of like House of Cardsing, kind of putting Sheena to the edge? Because let's face it, Lala likes it when there's a little conflict that's not her.
Lala is definitely playing both sides of this, and I think there's some manipulation going on involved in it, and she's sick of everybody's shit. I think she's sick of Ariana. I mean, we've seen it in some of the trailers leading up to the season and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, she's about ready to call Ariana and get her off her high horse.
Yeah.
And that is where the classic Vanderpump, like, we need Katie, we need Lala, we need those Rams going at it to get that real spice, to get these show numbers up into the 8s and 9s.
Seriously. And then we got, so this is when we're about at like the 45-minute mark of the episode here. It was pure adrenaline from this point because you got a pure electricity as well. You got the Lala Sandoval fight. This was a trailer moment. You were kind of looking forward to it all season. You knew it was coming last week after you saw it. What'd you think of how this ultimately turned out? I'm going to give, I want to jump in here because I want to say this. I think it was huge at the beginning. Like, I thought it was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, Lala's going in. This is like a 40-point game against Sandoval. I thought she let off a little bit at the end when everyone when cooler heads prevailed, so to speak.
She did let off at the end. And again, Tom's not sincere. He doesn't understand.
Nope.
He's not apologetic. He is not taking accountability. I think the only reason he let up is because he sees a sliver of hope with Sheena and he's trying to get back there. And so when Sheena stepped in, it brought everybody back down. Which I kind of, as a fan of the show, I wish Sheena would have just stayed out of the way and just let them go at it and explode, because I would have rated this show way higher if they just continued to go at it. Because here's the thing about both.
Thank God Tom Sandoval doesn't approve was hysterical.
Yes. And it's those two are the biggest liars and manipulators of this show. And so they're both right in this argument. Like, Tom is right. Lala isn't real. She has hid stuff, and Lala loves to hide the defense of like, oh, you're just pulling up my past. And it's like, well, your past sucks. So if you're going to call people out, we're going to pull it up. And then Tom doesn't have a leg to stand on either because he sucks and he lies. So they were both right. And I just wanted to see them continue to rip each other apart there. And plus, Tom just hit a bunch of oxygen. So I wanted to see like
big time oxygen reps.
How much does that get you fighting? Real quick on the boat.
Yes.
Maybe my favorite part of the night is Schwartz hitting on the staff on the boat and trying to get them there. Like, he's getting his foot back in the game, and I love that for him.
I was guffawing when he goes, this isn't typically us. This is actually pretty normal.
Yeah,
that was classic Schwartz. Again, this is all kind of craziness happening at the end. They get home, Brock passes the hell out. That was hysterical. They're leaving Sandoval food on the porch again. Quinn.
I love that analogy.
Who goes in their mentions? Who goes in their mentions from Lala? And then your Sheena, to cap off all the episode. I knew you were gonna love this. Why can I never have a moment where it can be about me?
Yeah, that is Sheena to a T, and she's been saying it this whole season, and she finally said it out loud.
Yeah, seriously. So that puts a wrap on Saw It on the Gram. We saw it. I had it up here. Let's get it back up here. What did you give this episode for a score, Mr. Quinn?
I gave this one, I forget what I gave last week, but I gave this one a 7.7 for
7.7. So your highest of the season.
Yeah. So okay, slightly higher. That makes sense. So it was a little bit better than last week. And really, you could think of these two episodes as like like this is the Tahoe trip part of it.
Agreed. I am going to agree with you. I think this is the best episode of the season. I'm going to go 7.5. I think we're peaking. I think we're almost out of the forced Scandival redemption arc that's happening, and we're going to be moving on to everyone kind of doing their own thing. I think Vanderpump is going to be getting back to what Vanderpump does best. Who did not do it best in your mind? Who did you have for the poo-poo head of the night?
My poo-poo head of the night is Ariana. I thought the ultimatum stuff, I thought she looked her worst in this. Again, everybody's had her back. Everybody has been super supportive. The internet, the whole world. Like, if Twitter and the internet is supporting you, like, you're doing something right. And I feel like, and I've been supportive of her, and she's turning me off with her attitude of like, no one can even talk to this guy or be involved in them. It's too mean, girl. I'm not into it. You got to move past this at some point.
Agreed. I like that pick. For me, I got my second two-time poo-poo head of the night, Sheena. Unfortunately, love Sheena. I want her to overcome her obstacles, but like you said, it was just making it about her. I don't know why she's checking her mentions as a celeb, like a Bravo celebrity, when she knows she's going to have some trouble, obviously, with that moment. So she earns the poo-poo head tonight. Yeah, hopefully she'll bounce back this year and this season. And then last but not least, let's get to our Vanderpump Power Rankings. And again, shout out Gatesy for these awesome graphics. We have, these are our cumulative totals on the season so far, Quinster. So obviously we do these every week. We make we go 5 top characters of the episode. First place gets 5 points. Second place gets 4 points. Third place gets 3 points. Fourth place gets 2 points. And fifth place gets 1 point. So as you see, Lisa dominating the season. James having another great year. Ariana and Lala rounding out the top there. You got Katie and Allie as well. The bottom,
Brock sneaky there.
So let me kick you off here because I know I typically put the pressure on you first to go with the power rankings. At 1, I got Hippie. He got hard launched on Instagram with James, and he got to go on a Tahoe vacation, Quinn. That doesn't get you there.
Living better than I am.
Yoga. You got to be in yoga as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Hippie had a great episode. 2, Brock. We said it. Wake up early golf, drinking all day, passing out, kind of like laughing and just defending your wife. Pretty good day. Pretty good day altogether. And he won $150, I think he said. Schwartz, 3, had a great episode. Felt like he was playing the hits, having a great time with Lala, getting a great vibe with everyone. Like you said, great time with the boat staff, doing his thing. At 4, I got James. Hard launches him and Hippie on Instagram. Great episode. Kind of the mature one when everyone's fighting, everyone's screaming. When Lala and Scandival had the big falling out, it was kind of a funny comment from James. Well, that show went up quick.
Yeah.
That was funny. And then at 5, I had to do this just because I have been hard on her this season. I had to give 5 to Lala. Everyone kind of went easy on Scandival so far from what we've seen as far as the conversations. Even James kind of being mature. Schwartz, Sheena, Brock, etc. She was the first one to really go after him. And I felt like I appreciated that as a viewer. So 5 for Lala.
Yeah, we're pretty close here, man. So I've got 5. I got Lala for the same reasons, willing to go at him a little bit and in a good way. It's not sometimes when Lala will go at you, it's kind of BS, but she's really going at him for real. 4, I've got James. Same thing. He's the mature one this year, which is such a turnaround for James. He's not getting into it. Low key, one of the best moments the show was when he's talking to his mom and he's FaceTiming with his mom, and she's like,
he mentioned
talking to Sandoval, and she's like, ooh, no bueno, like
no bueno, persona non grata.
Yeah, I love that his mom's involved in that drama and knows all about it. 3, I'm with you here. I got Hippie, living the best life, living his best life, coming out of adoption, coming out of having a tough life, biting people to swimming and living in Tahoe. 2, I've got Schwartz. Again, to your point, classic Schwartz, the one-liners, just riding that fence, hitting on girls. Like that's exactly where Schwartz's sweet spot needs to be. Number 1 for me is Brock. Brock had a great episode, 5 a.m. golf. Like you said, he's also been stern with people a lot more. And I think he's probably stood up to people the most, whether it's his wife this season or Tom, and just being the level head in these conversations with Sheena, with Tom, and not letting it boil over into a fight and still being cool and peaceful, but still getting his point across. So he's having a great season.
It wasn't that long ago that James was dunking on Brock for asking him to pitch his Instagram brands and stuff like that. So Brock has had some awesome growth. Thank you for having this awesome growth with us. Thank you, Quinster, for another episode of the books. Season 11, episode 6, saw it on the gram. Thanks for joining us, folks, again on the show where you can bring your mistress or bring your wife. Thank you again. It's Trainwreck Rules. Make sure to go have a good night now.